our challenge really is handling it, though. We have to create something because there's no one else willing to, on behalf of the city or the county, to come in here or to find the developers who are interested in coming in here and building houses. So we're going to have to do something. I'm just using this because this is what was handed to me when I got here a couple months ago. It was already on the books and on the maps that it was set up as executive residential lots. I do like it, but it does not have to be that way. Our challenge as an EDC is we have to be careful that if we dabble in housing, it is supposed to be workforce housing. So with these particular lots, we would have to get them out into a developer's hands, or several, on an open market sense, to be able to get them to come in here and build the houses. So we keep clean with the state of Texas. Is that correct? Yeah.
How are you envisioning that? You're saying we would convey the lots to the builder, or you're saying something different?
No, I do think that, I think the infrastructure work, at least us getting it up to the property right now, and potentially even running it through the property right now, we can do because we can still consider this to be commercial property. If we are not, and maybe I'm playing a little fast and loose with who we are and what we're doing, but this was a commercial project to start. If in fact we don't have commercial opportunities over there, but we have put the water and sewer and a street in for 300 yards or whatever the case is, and we're not finding commercial opportunities to sell it, then we have this ability to pivot and treat this as a residential opportunity and sell it to a developer. Again, I know I'm playing fast and loose, but it still is, from what I've looked through, legal to do that because we are putting the infrastructure in based on the park being a commerce park, regardless of what has been put on a map, because obviously anything can change. But it is a very beautiful piece of property, I think, for that executive residential type of opportunity. Next point was housing. And at our last meeting, we talked about what we couldn't do, how we felt about it. So I had that conversation with Carlton Schwab, who, again, has been overseeing EDC stuff in the state for 30 years. And what he told me, and I left the language sitting on my desk, sorry, but basically in the legislative code that we fall under, there's language that says so long as your board believes that what you're doing is in furtherance of expanding or creating new primary jobs, then you can do it. And Carlton said, I would even include housing in there. And I said, well, let's talk a little bit about, not workforce housing, affordable housing, which is the term. And he said, the problem is it's not defined. Mm-hmm. So what is affordable in different communities is different. And he said, if your board, once again, if this is the infrastructure you have to put in, and if it's $2 million and it comes out to $100,000 a lot, that is what it is. And if you can find somebody to build a $400,000, $500,000 home, and those are needed in your community, it is what it is. He said, Brett, I would tell you to tell your board to be comfortable doing this because it is being done in other communities. It's just not talked about. There is no EDC police. He said, there's nobody in Austin who's going to hear about these things and come down on you and say, oh, you can't do this. He said, it's never happened in the 30 years I've been doing this. He said, in a community like Henderson, who has seen no growth and no new housing developments in 20 years, if you, as an economic development organization, want to kick this off and get it started, he has encouraged us to do that. So I feel comfortable now coming to you guys and saying on that 20 acres or 19 lots or whatever it ends up being, that I would like to have your permission to ask Neil to give us a good hard number on what it's going to be for probably a phase 1 and a phase 2, splitting the property in half, to get the infrastructure in place. The only way we're going to sell that or get a developer involved is if we commit to the infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So last month it was around $2 million to do the 20 acres. We could still do it all in one, and then it's done, because, as you know, time only increases costs. But if we decide we only want to put $1 million into this and create 10 lots initially, then that's what we do. We have to start somewhere, though. So on the housing side, I feel very comfortable. The secondary part of the housing side of what we have, I feel very comfortable. I also feel very comfortable on multifamily housing as well out there. Now that we can invest in these things because, again, these are products that we need. As Noble pointed out, we have no place to put people. So
You had mentioned the getting involved in housing. So Jamie, he and I have had several conversations about this, and he really wanted to talk to Carlton Schwab, who has been doing this for 30 years. So we did get on a Zoom with him last week, and I think Jamie feels a lot more comfortable now. Jamie did some additional research and realizes that what we're doing and the reason we can get involved in housing, and Carlton kind of backed this up, is this is in furtherance of creating or retaining primary jobs within our community. And if no one else is building housing, which we know has to be one of our attraction tools to bring in the businesses, then as long as you guys as a board see and share the same vision, then Carlton said you should go forth and do it, because the primary goal of us is to create or retain primary jobs in the city. So however you make that investment to do that has to be approved by the board, which it is. Then housing, Carlton feels like we can justify that 7 days a week.
Okay.
Is that correct?
What concerned me was when you look at the statute and it lists the things that we can do. There's a specific provision that says affordable housing. That's what we were all talking about. If you track that affordable housing through, there's very specific definitions of what that means, and it's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
And my concern was, if I'm asked at the grocery store, how did y'all do that?
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to say, we did it here and here's how we did it. So I'm having a real hard time finding a way to take what you guys were talking about and squeeze it into that section that said affordable housing. It doesn't fit. That was my concern. Going back and looking at it and then bouncing it off of Carlton and Brett, the general rule is that you guys can spend money on any kind of project you want, as long as you make the determination that it is going to create or retain primary jobs within a list of industry sectors. The first one is industrial manufacturing. It goes on down from there through warehousing, distribution centers. So it is a specific list. There is not, for example, retail is not on that list. So if you were to make a decision that we needed to build a housing development that was not affordable housing for the purpose of creating retail jobs, I think you'd have a problem.
Yeah.
If you make the decision in this room that in order to create and retain jobs in manufacturing and industry, we need housing, you can do that. And you're not, my concern was, my first read, I was concerned that section on affordable housing was your only authority to be involved in housing. It's not. It's much broader than that. You can do all sorts of things as long as you're able in this room to say, no, at the end of the day, that's going to create or retain jobs in industry and manufacturing.
Hey, Kilgore Housing Authority got a grant to get started with over there. And the grant called for building affordable housing. And I asked Weldon, what they're building now is in Rush County. And he said he was putting them on the tax roll at $350,000. So that's affordable housing.
I don't know how you can do that.
That's Kilgore for you.
Yeah, the federal standard.
Yeah, but they're getting housing.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get it too.
The reality is, the second part of what Carlton pointed out is nobody's really policing this. And that's fine. Okay? But when you get policed, whether it's Adam's at the grocery store or Jamie's at Walmart or whatever we're doing, I wanted you to have an answer.
Yeah.
And I didn't want you in a position where you're out over the edge somewhere and my response is going to be, well, we didn't think anybody was going to check, or Kilgore got away with it, or whatever. I wanted you to be able to say, no, this is okay, and here's why.
Right.
So that's what I want to give you, is I'm comfortable with it.
You know, here at this table one time ties into this perfectly. I remember Michael Bell said that he could get the prisoners here for 100 more jobs, but he can't get the employees.
Yeah.
Well, now this would tie, if he had some housing and a place to put the employees, that would tie right into what you just got to say.
And what I think where you guys can take comfort is that ground level decision that this is going to promote or retain jobs in those areas. I think that gets made in this room, and I think you get great discretion and deference. Anybody were to look at it and second guess it, I think it's your call. I don't think anybody's in a position to say, oh, well, wait a minute, I did a separate study and you're wrong. People can have different opinions, but if you guys collectively think it's going to advance that agenda, I think the statute gives you the authority to make that investment and be involved in it.
That's definitely where it is. I mean, when the first time I came on here, that was it. We were being told, well, we could get jobs, there's nowhere for them to live. So that's been the major obstacle.
Yeah, and if you wanted to do something, commission some kind of study or get some kind of report that you keep in your pocket in case somebody asks you, get that back up, you could do that.
Yeah.
I don't think you have
do
to.
the study.
We can rely on Adam. Yeah. I don't think you have
Did you hear
to.
that buzz back up over me? It's the first time.
The last thing that I will say on this, sorry, Jamie, is the important part to remember is we just built a 300-acre business park that we are going to spend the next 5 or 10 years attracting businesses to come into. They need places to live. So if anybody questions why we're involved in housing, here's why.
Yep.
And we had last year 30 teachers here for the school system that couldn't find jobs here that are having to live out of town.
Yeah.
I mean, look at they go out of town, when they go, the paycheck goes with them out of town.
Yeah.
We get no back
Groceries,
benefit
gas,
except getting the children taught.
Yep.
From that, we don't get the economic benefit of it.
It's 422.
Falls in my lap.
What about north Evenside where Brant owns all that land that doesn't have a sewer line or a water line?
So Brant and I talked 2 months ago, easy, and I said, we'll help you. We'll figure it out. We can run it. We can do it. We can work with the city. We can work with the city to give the money so it has the ability to put the sewer line through there. Has to have a connection point. We can demonstrate that there's the ability to tie in some type of commercial aspect to it. Brant and I sat in this room and talked about, if you build these up near the street side, you put all your utilities in an alleyway back behind you, you dedicate that to the city. So once the work is done, you could have your water, sewer, you could get SWEPCO, whomever else, put everything back in an alleyway so it's not seen and you're not having the street, electric poles over the street line. And that's kind of where we left it.
Okay.
He wanted to build 20 or 30 duplexes was what he had penciled out on the south side of the road. On the north side, and that was like 9 acres on the south side of the road. On the north side of the road, or is it east and west? I forget.
West.
East and west. Okay, so on the west side he wanted to build the duplexes. On the east side, he said there's probably still 20-ish acres that are buildable, but he wanted to sell that to a single-family developer to come and do that. So that's the last we've talked about his project. He told me he had financing to do it. He was ready to do it. I said, well, just let me know if you need our help. We have to put an agreement together, and haven't talked to him about that since.
I don't know how much money it would generate, but I noticed the state's going to lower the property taxes on the school end of the valuations. If we could get the city to put, I don't know, how much money would it raise if they put a 1 cent increase in the tax rate and put that money in a separate fund to do some of this kind of promotion we're talking about?
Well, unfortunately, they can't do that. I mean, legislatively, they're at the cap at 8 and a quarter. If the legislature lifts the cap or raises the cap and allows cities or municipalities to...
No, I mean, put it on the property tax.
If it goes down.
Oh, you mean raise property
If
taxes
it's
on
going
people?
down, this would be a good time to do it.
That's going to be a very
The
popular.
state's going to lower the rate for the school component.
Yeah.
So we then could come in and substitute it with. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting
I mean,
idea for sure.
It's a good way to get
We need to
voted
look at
down.
some stuff.
Anyway, We're a little off topic on that. We'll have to address that at a different meeting, but
One of the differences is clearly school district, you're dealing with property tax. I'm a whole lot more sensitive to my property tax going up every year.
Yeah.
This is sales tax.
Right.
And
Well, with the property taxes,
it doesn't attract the same type of attention
I hope you're
that
right.
a property tax does.
But
creating a presence here outside of the joke of a building from the ISD that they're in. So we're trying to have a meeting right now with the chancellor. The gentleman that came out here is trying to set something up with the chancellor so we can sit down and talk about what does this mean for you. Now, I don't know if they'd be willing to put money into it or just put a lease into it. Either way, a builder-developer is going to appreciate someone who's willing to lease X amount of space for X amount of time, because it's going to help them to be able to sell their project to any type of financial institution that they already have at least one tenant.
How does Kilgore College pay anything for the use of Central Elementary for their dual credit courses?
I think that was under Adam's tenure.
Yeah. Do you know
So they just gave it away?
I don't remember that.
Damn school.
Yes.
Or they just get it free, probably?
Now you said nothing like.
there's a relationship there. I'm not sure what all it is, but I don't know that Kilgore College is going to do anything if we're not in their taxing jurisdiction, and I don't think the Henderson population is willing to vote to pay more taxes.
No. Well, they're already doing stuff here. It's just a matter of where they reside.
Right.
And if they're paying HISD rent on facilities.
And I don't think they are, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I thought the deal always was we provide the space and they provide.
What about our role in type B housing?
Yeah, we talked to Carlton Schwab. I'm sure that's something that Brett's going to go over in his
Okay.
report. He went in and said that, he thinks that we definitely can take a role
Okay.
in that, but I'm sure Brett will discuss that.
Cool.
All right. Thank you, Shelby. Executive Director report.
So as I mentioned, tomorrow we're closing on Brandt's property. So once we have that completely acquired, which will be tomorrow, it'll give us the opportunity to go back in front of some of these developers, builders that I've already talked to and say, okay, start laying out some of what your vision might be. Most likely, the easiest thing is going to be to take down the 9 acres first. We know that on the west side of the 9 acres, utilities already exist. The 35 across the street, or 36 acres on the other side of the street, it's going to take some time to get the utilities in place. That's going to be a longer conversation with you guys and with the city, most likely putting a tax increment reinvestment zone from the city over a large swath of the city, so they'll have the bonding capabilities about going out and getting some of that money. So then we're not putting our money into the infrastructure, which we can do. But if the city steps up, then they'll be able to bond it and put the money into it, and we won't have to. And then the city gets, obviously, another nice neighborhood, an extension of it on a single-family side. So the 9 acres will probably be taken down first, probably looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of about 18 to 20 single-family homes. The conversation was anywhere from 1,800 to 2,400-ish square feet. Most likely garages on the side, so they're not facing the street.
Item number D is BIH investment.
Oh my gosh.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Good to see y'all.
Oh, really?
I don't have that big of an audience anymore. Good afternoon. Most of y'all know me. Some I haven't had the pleasure of meeting. My name's Grant Bain. We do real estate investments here. Also own Coldwell Banker here in Henderson. Lifetime resident. I want to start out by thanking y'all for purchasing the land that we had there on the Evenside. It's been much needed for Henderson as far as good residential, affordable housing, and that property over there is the perfect place to do it. So I appreciate y'all voting on that and we getting that deal closed out and moving forward. So I come here today
Go to item E, Brasso Development Construction. Courtney?
So let me kind of preface this real quick before Portland gets started. Obviously, with the acquisition of the piece of property from Bain Investment Holdings that we just acquired, the 46 acres, 45 acres on an Evenside, we have shopped around. We've talked to a couple of different builders. Jay had sat me down with one of them. Trey had introduced me to Cortland, and Cortland's very excited about moving forward. Michael Marshall and I have met with him a couple times to go over what the plans would look like, what our vision is, how we would potentially put a performance agreement together with him on doing this. And he's still very interested and excited about doing it. I think he's got some very unique floor plans he can bring in at the price points that we have discussed around this table. So I think it's a pretty unique opportunity. We will get more into this in executive session to talk about more of the performance agreement items, but Cortland is here to make the presentation on the kind of product that he can deliver.
Yeah, so thank you, Brett. So those who don't know me, I'm Cortland Brasso. I've known a couple guys around this table. Some of the things that I've heard, it sounds like you guys are definitely expanding. Y'all are trying to, create more jobs and whatnot. And I've been in Henderson. I realize y'all do like a lot of affordable housing. I've got some things here I'm going to give you guys, and I'm going to let you guys just pass around if you'd like. But one of the things that I've noticed in a lot of cities is that, you'll see these guys that kind of build these spec homes. We're filled with them. You're from Bullard. Bullard's got Henderson. Well, you've lived in Bullard. Okay. So you see,
set the record straight.
So, they've got a lot of guys that come in and they'll build these little basic spec homes. They're full brick and they're usually pretty bland. I do mainly custom work, and so that's what my background is. I started out a long time ago, and the first home I did was a custom home. And so I've kind of got more of an eye for, what a house in an area should look like versus one that's just put there to just sell and make money and get somebody in it. And so I think that would be a pretty good asset for you guys. This is kind of I'm going to just pass these around if you guys want to go through them. These are all floor plans that we kind of discussed just between Brad and Michael. These are 1,500 to 2,000 square foot floor plans that are on the front part of this. And then I included a handful of photos of just some homes that we built just within the last 3 or 4 years. One of those homes, I can't mention the name of the owner. There's a lot of people that know him. We actually work alongside a couple other guys to do, it's about a 10,000 square foot home, so real beautiful home. But, so we've looked at it. I've actually surveyed the land. We did a preliminary plat, which is the very first page of this. It's devised of roughly 24 lots. And essentially, the way that land is, it kind of tapers down, and so, which makes it perfect for drainage. And so what we would, like to do would be to stagger homes down to a main drainage basin. It creates it basically creates a lot that's pretty, and you don't see a lot of infrastructure with that lot. And so, but with that said, we get a lot of custom homes that have a lot of colors to them. They're not just brick. I like to do things with a little stone, kind of throw in whatever's trendy. Right now it seems like, there's a few homes in there that were, 2 of them are spec homes. And those are more, they've got more of a, they're darker colors mixed with white stone and things like that. And so that's what I would like to do. I like to build homes that are pretty. You look at them, they're not necessarily a spec home. They look like something that was custom built for somebody with, tasteful colors and a little bit of stone added to it, or brick, or whatever the trend might be. And so that one there, we actually built that one that you've got in your hand there. We do a lot of whites too. So we kind of, in a subdivision like this, I've done a few in Bullard and in Flint. It's just expanding so crazy. It's exploding out there right now. And so I worked with Trey Hunt a little bit on some of these homes, and kind of what we do is we'll get 5-acre tracts or 10-acre tracts. Usually they're similar to the 9 acres that you guys have acquired. And basically what we'll do is we'll kind of create, just like what we're talking about here, we'll stagger homes down, and we kind of throw a mix in. So we'll have a mixture of, say, some homes that have more siding, some homes that may, and in the mix of it, we'll throw some in that have some stone in it. And we just kind of go with the trends. And so it seems to be doing really well. Everybody in Tyler seems to like them. And so, what we've talked about, I don't know how far you want to go into that. What we've kind of talked about is, now that the cities have acquired that, one thing I think would be, great for everybody too would be that, we obviously would like to source a lot of this stuff locally. So local banks, local material distribution providers, things like that. Most of our labor will probably come from us, which is, we've got some that are here, some that are mixed around here entirely globally. But for the most part, suppliers and things like that, we'd like to, of course, use local people. So.
One of the things that we've discussed on purpose, sorry, didn't mean to step on
No, go
something.
ahead.
We've kept these, if you looked over the preliminary platting of the property, 1/3 of an acre, like we had discussed. We want to make sure that we're selling good enough sized pieces of property so people understand that we're rural. We don't want to be 50 by 120 as like a city or a suburb. We want people to have room. We discussed the fact that these will be side-facing garages, not front-facing, so the front of the house is going to look prominent and nice. So I think that's important to note, and Cortland's been able to do that. This is starting on the 9-acre side, and as we get into some discussions about what a performance agreement would be, we would want, and Cortland would want this as well, the opportunity to be kind of the master developer of what would happen across the street. And, pardon me a second.
You all have the same ringtone.
Everybody's got the same ring.
Yeah, I noticed that. So there's the importance of what he wants to do on the 9 acres to make it look pretty enough to be able to be that master developer on the other side as well. Now, being a master developer doesn't mean he's going to build every single house that's over there, but he's going to understand and be able to work within our process of what we want to see created. And he knows other builders who would come in and buy some of that property up and build houses over there as well. So there's a couple of more things that we'll talk about, as I mentioned earlier, in executive session. But I think between, I don't want to put words into Michael's mouth, but I think between our consistent meetings, Cortland has been up front. He has showed us his cost sheets on a house that he just built 3 weeks ago, this one here. He has told me, and he'll tell you guys the same thing. Anytime you want to see the cost sheet on one of these houses that he is building, he will gladly show it. He's not trying to make a ton of money off of us because he is looking long term and really wants to help this community move forward. He's agreed to basically the price point that we've been talking about, that 250-ish range. Now it might come in around 270, but our median home price right now is 310. So we have opportunities to bring in some price point on brand new construction on 1/3 of an acre in the city, for 270, 280 around there, which is, I think, giving people a grand opportunity.
So you want that whole, what is it, 9 acres?
So we would start off with, and this will go into our performance agreement. Out of that 9, we need to make an investment of clearing the rest of the property and getting the utilities set up to move through. And that we'll talk about shortly. Out of that, that'll get 24 pad sites build ready on that 9 acres. So he has to trust us just like we're going to trust him. So he's going to manipulate the entire 9 to make it build ready and get the utilities to go through from Whippoorwill over to Evenside. We will then dedicate 4.8, something like that, on the north side so he can get started. He wants to build 6 homes at one time, which is great. But manipulating the entire property is what helps him to keep his costs down as well. And then going vertical with 6 helps him to keep his costs down because he's literally going to pad, and go vertical. So that helps him. It helps us because we're going to see some pretty immediate results on this neighborhood. And then during that process, we get to notice how he's doing, if he's building the time frame, doing the things that we talked about. And if so, then we would transfer the other 4.8 to him.
Okay.
So it might be, let's say if it happens tomorrow, it'd be the 4.8 whatever tomorrow, and then maybe in 6 months or 8 months when he gets vertical to some extent that we're all comfortable with, we would put in the performance agreement. At some stage, then we would transfer the other property to him as well.
Well, presumably you want some revenue from the first group.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To help build the second group.
Yeah, that's kind of what
unless he's writing big checks for you.
Well, so kind of it's kind of what we've discussed. It's just essentially start with 6, and that kind of helps keep the cost down as well. And like he said, I'm real transparent. Usually these homes cost me personally about $230 to build in the 1,500-1,600 square foot range. And going up to 1,800 to 2,000, we're closer to about $240, $250, pending what we're doing. If we build 6 at a time, which I've done that in the past, I've built 4 at a time. The cost does go down, and I've kind of already let most of my team know what's going on if this goes on, and we're all under an understanding this is a volume game.
And you're ready to go? Like, if we agree to this
I can
tomorrow?
bring it on tomorrow. Well, actually, we got rain tomorrow. Let's hold
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, right now, we,
Let's say we'll hold off and we can do it maybe Friday.
But the dozer's on the trailer ready to go.
I can have it here. Yep. So, yeah, we can get started pretty quick. We're just now diving into more development projects. I've lucked out. I've had a lot of good mentors. So, Ken Dietz, Grady Rowland, he developed Brown's Landing over in Lake Palestine. Beautiful, beautiful development. There's another guy. His name is what's his last name? It's he's down the road from me, and I'm sorry, his name just popped out of my head. But I've watched him do some stuff as well. I did a few lots for him myself, and so I've had a lot of good guidance. And what I've seen, especially for something like this, is when you start, you do 6, figure out the performance of those, go from there. So that's kind of what we figure would be the best route here would be. Start with 6, and then everything sells. Usually, the ones that I've done in the past, they sell before we're done. So at that point, we've done what we want to do. We've filled the homes. And if that happens, then we can just keep moving. And so we'll move over to the next 6, and we can, have another meeting if you guys like, and just kind of check the performance of things, make sure it's what you guys like, make sure that everybody's in agreement with what's going on. If so, we'll keep moving forward. So, cool. But I'm kind of in a spot where I would like to, more or less, I like to push more into the development side of things, and this is a perfect opportunity for me, just like it would be for you guys. And so, again, I'm not necessarily greedy. We can try and keep the price point down. That helps everybody around here. It helps even first-time home buyers, And so if we keep that price point down, this is a long-term game. We could go, 12, do another 12, and then we could talk about the other side of the road if everybody likes what we're doing and it's working, then great. So yeah, we can move pretty quick. I would estimate, I think 6 houses. I would think I could probably have those started and done within about 6 months. So, yeah.
Now, on this product, if it were to be built in like Flint or Bullitt area, what kind of price point do you think something like that would go for?
Well, I just sold one. It was a custom, and the guy ended up having to back out of it, and so it was the floor plan. It was.
This floor plan?
It's that exact floor plan. This one actually sold for $335,000. That's what it got sold for. So they're a little higher up there, but of course everything's higher.
The land's a little bit more expensive, but I mean, what we're talking about is having a $330,000-$40,000 product sitting in Henderson.
Yeah.
And the reason for that's because we're willing to put the land in pretty much nothing, and you're willing to keep your costs down and know that if you get 100 houses on the floor, you make a lot more money, even if per house is a lot smaller.
Correct. Yeah, what I would bring here, it's not going to be your basic spec home. You're going to see. I'm really OCD, and I love Pinterest, and so I keep up with the trends. I keep up with what everybody wants to see, and luckily, given we do work with so many people that we're more of a custom home building company. We kind of know what people want, and so that would be what I would incorporate into these. And so when you look at them, especially coming into a neighborhood, you'll notice in Tyler, it's kind of funny. There's 2 homes. There's 2 different development companies. One would be Hunt Custom Homes. I'm not going to name the other one, but they're not far apart. You can go into one neighborhood. And it's beautiful. The homes all are, they all have sort of the same theme. They've got stone with a little bit of siding. They've thrown some color in there, side entry garages, and it's just done a really good job of, landscape, which we've kind of talked about a little bit too. We can kind of come up with a theme, and maybe plant some, peach trees or orange trees or whatever, and just kind of make that little area its own little world that people would feel cozy being in. You can go to one in Tyler and see that, and then go to the next one, and it's gloomy. It's just the same look in every house. There's nothing really creative in it, and the houses aren't really selling there right The ones that I'm talking about that have all the color, and he's done some landscaping. He made a stone veneer entranceway into it. It's not gated, it's just a welcoming. They sold instantly, and it's got 40 plus homes in it. The other one has 26, and I'm pretty sure that he's still got lots that are doing nothing. So we see that. That's what I'd like to bring here. I'd like to, kind of throw in a mix of pretty homes that are affordable, of course. It's going to be something that everybody's going to want to live in. They're not going to feel like they're buying a spec home that's just, thrown together and has cheap, fixtures in it and things like that. And so yep. Do you have any questions?
Just you? Would you bring Trey in on this, or?
So on the first part, I would say it'd probably just be me on the 9 acres, but on the, if we move forward on the other side, I would definitely bring in more builders, and I would vet them. Trey, he's so busy right now that I don't know that he would, but I've got, I'm sure you know most of them. Hunter, Wayne Skelton would be one for sure. Charlie Meyer would be one. I'm friends with a lot of good builders, and so a lot of them have actually helped me in the past probably 10 years, and so I would bring them in, of course, too. And they all have kind of the same style that I do. They're very particular about their builds, and so it would be the same look. It'd kind of be what we're talking about, be in the same guideline. So, but yeah, Trey Hunt would. I've already actually talked to him about it a little bit. He's offered to help me if I needed any help on the design side, which I've pretty much got that covered, but I don't know that he'd be interested in coming over this way. But Charlie Meyer, Wayne Skelton, I've got 2 others, Jeremy Smith, JM Custom Homes, and there's a couple others out of mind that I would probably bring in on the other side. And if I did get slowed down or something happened, then of course I could bring one of those guys in as well to keep things moving at a fast pace on the 9. But I'm fairly confident on the 9. It'd be no problem. I could have that done pretty quick. So,
You see for the broader project, you envision pretty much the same price point across the board, or you don't see varying the price points by a large degree or any degree? Just curious.
When we started, if this is 5 years up the road, I couldn't tell you that it would be the same price, but I don't think you wouldn't see a huge jump.
Huge variance.
We would kind of meet with you guys and just see what is it that you guys need. Do we need more of a 2,200 to 2,500 square foot home? Or do we need to downsize to a more first-time buyer home? They only have, if any, kids, 1 kid maybe, where we're only doing 2 or 3 bedrooms.
I mean, I think we kind of feel like we need it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the unique part about this is that this is new construction 3.2, but it's not that starter home 3.2. This is more of a custom feel.
Yeah.
I think on the 9 acres does set us up on the 35 across the street. I think initially in the 35 across the street, a good part of that is going to be somewhat similar to what he's doing now, probably with price point fluctuations that are going to grow. But I also think that as you start moving north and you abut up next to the city's property, where the city's going to have new amenities in the future, then you can see maybe people combining 2 lots and building a bigger house, or having some more depth and then having the background of the city park behind them. So I do believe when we get to the 35, it is going to allow us to do a lot more.
I'm just going to ask Jay.
Every time I bring up his name, he runs.
He was not ready for questions.
Good to see you, Jay.
But I do believe that when we get over there into that piece,
You can have options.
yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Bless you.
PM, bless you. And we'll
Ooh, hold on, Brasso.
Okay, my turn?
said, and take action that we discussed in executive session and deliberation of real property.
All right, Jamie, check my work on this one. Okay. So I make a motion to engage Brassus Construction Development. Brasso. Sorry, I put S on there. Construction and Development and a performance agreement where we will provide $300,000 for site prep and utility work on the on the 9 acres on the east of Evenside.
West
of Evenside.
Got one job, man.
I know, right? Doing terrible.
You got
Yeah, I've got 18 witnesses to it. Where we'll have a second lien on the property to enforce performance. Along with that, we'll give an 18-month exclusivity on the property on the east side of Evenside to develop that 35 acres roughly. And another provision included to offer the south side of the 9 acres on the west side of Evenside to him after the sale of the first property.
First home.
First home.
Completed home.
First completed home.
We got a motion.
On the north side.
On the north side of the west side of the 9 acres.
Second here is all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Motion
Who made the
passes
first?
unanimously with one abstention. An abstention. Let's see, now we have a second.
Who made the
motion.
first motion?
I did.
Okay.
The one that read
Jesus.
it terribly. Come on. You got one job.
I'll make a motion on Sadler's Powder